This girl is on fire. Ah, oh, go ahead. You know what? Sometimes when I'm in here in the morning, I am jamming to my own playlist and loving every minute of it. So I am just greeting you and saying good morning, good Monday morning to you. And I am not sure altogether if I am on here live. I know that I am all the way live. I'm all the way live. Yes, yes, yes. In my own little space, in my own little way. I've got, it seems like I'm hitting on all cylinders. At least I hope I am. And we just gonna make it do what it do, baby. How are you today? You know what? Let me say this. Yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, I was like, so how's your weekend going? And you know what he said? He said to me, he was like, I know Sandra. And I thought, okay. And he was like, I guess he has been one of those recruits that everything is good and always good, no matter the appearance at the moment. And so I was so honored, like, when he said that, I was like, yes, yes, yes. That is the spirit. No matter who it is that you are thinking that you know, whether you know Sandra or whether you just know that God got you or that all is well, or you could be atheist, don't think that there is one out here, knowing that you are existing in this moment, in this time on the same planet and with a job to do, whatever it is you're thinking. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. I love I'm not a snow person. I like snow. I like it when I don't have to go out in it. But this yesterday, was so beautiful. I went out and the snow was really dense. It was heavy. And so I, moved a little bit of snow out of the way and made my way out yesterday after I did my Sunday sharing. And it was just, there's an interesting thing about, not that you care, right? But there's an interesting thing about snow in that the bulk and the fluff of it has a tendency to muffle things. And so there is, especially on a Sunday, there's a quietness about it. There's a peaceful just isness about it. And so when I got out in it, I was just like, I went and did what I needed to do and came on back. And it was, every day is a beautiful day, a fantastic day, a wonderful day to be on this planet and to be alive. And so I hope that you are knowing that as well, that and claiming it, right? Because the other thing that I know is that there is a power in declaring a thing, to speak it out of your mouth, like there is a let there be power to the words that you say. And so if you want to be down, okay, you know what, set a timer, be down for, you know give yourself 45 minutes or something, like we used to do for a class, right? Give yourself a little time and just kind of think about the things that you perceive as wrong, the obstacles that have come up. Think about those things. And then after you've given yourself 45 minutes of that, then I need you to do a shift. I need you to do a shift. That's right. I need you to do a shift. And then think to yourself, like after that 45 minutes, the timer goes off, and then you say to yourself something like, but I still have power. I still am alive. I still am at choice. I'm still at choice. So you could see the glass half full or half empty. You could see it as you know, some people believe that they are powerless to make change in their life, but you are not. You are not. As a matter of fact, if you did not know that what a powerful person you are, I need you to embrace that now. And here's the funny thing is I used to always say, try it, prove me wrong, right? Yeah, but you can't just say, that don't work, without actually making the effort to disprove that it doesn't work. So you know, when you, whatever it is, we can always have a shift. Good morning, Sandra darling, how are you? Miss Sunshine, we always have this ability to make a shift, right? So I can't even tell you how many times that I've had one of those turn it around moments, right? Turn that around. And let's see what else we could possibly see. What else can we possibly imagine or think about? One of my cousins this weekend she seemed like she was in a bad place. You know, she was like saying that she didn't, you know, like the people in her life made her not like herself, which was just totally interesting to me. It was totally interesting. But here's what I do know. I know that we have inherited stuff in, you know, in our being. We have inherited a lot of mixed messages. And so sometimes the messages that we hear aren't even based on us in our lifetime. So sometimes we get caught in our judgments about, you know, oh, I didn't have kids, or I had too many kids, or I didn't get married, or I married a, you know, whatever, you know, whatever the judgment. We get, there's this vacillating between stuff, between ideas and opinions. And there's a line, I remember doing a sermon long time ago about something that was kind of obscure to me, but at the same time, it was like it came to me so clearly as I was talking about it. And it was something like, how long ought you between two opinions? Like this idea of these various opinions about things. How long do you vacillate in those things? How long do you allow yourself to go back and forth and to judge what is? Now, this is what I'm saying. We're judging what is. That means that there is a solidity to it. It is a fixed, not fixed in the sense of unchanging, but we are judging something that is already there. Like I could tell y'all that, you know, when I was younger, I had various issues. Uh, at one time I was too short. Another time I was too curvy. Another time my boobs was too big. Another time my hair didn't grow long enough. Another time is my sister got green eyes and I got plain old brown. Another time is, oh, I don't like my smile, and then I do. And then, you know, I had judgments all along. I mean, you know, I don't know if there is anybody among us that does not at some point or other have judgments about what is. You are perfect. You're perfect. I know it may not seem that way, especially when you're comparing yourself, right? Oh my gosh. When you get caught up in the comparison of, you know, whatever you're comparing to, your nose, your lips, your intelligence level, your significant other or lack thereof, your everything. We can get caught up in judging everything. Your smell. your inability to be a domestic, or your ability to be all of these things. We get caught up in the judgments of them all, rather than simply accepting that this is me, damn it, and I'm gonna be glad and rejoice in it. Sometimes you just gotta make up your mind to get off of that roller coaster ride and think to yourself, you know what? This is what it is. It is what it is. And all of my criticism of it, my vacillating about it, all of the things are not going to change what is. So either I can get with the program, or I could be miserable about the program. But it is. It is. So sometimes you just ask yourself, there's a question. Is that true? Is it? Who said so? Who said so? When somebody tells me, one person tells me, oh, you girl, you can't sing. You don't need to be out there singing in front. And somebody else thinks I sound like, when I was overseas, they used to think I sound like, what did they say? Whitney Houston. I was like, are y'all deaf? Maybe, I wasn't even in the ballpark, but that's y'all's ears. I'm going to belt it out for you. Darn it. Because who am I to deny you that pleasure? Oh, y'all just don't know how sometimes this mind can play tricks on you. It can play tricks on you. And so, sometimes we just got to get out of the way and let it do. Can you imagine? Here we are. This guy, back in college, this guy thought I was the finest thing that ever landed on this planet. Oh my God, you would have thought that I was just, remember in the Flintstones, how Wilma Flintstone would carry around that big old thing, talking about keep your hubby happy, all of that stuff. You would have thought I was one of those big pterodactyl steaks or something on the platter, steaming up a storm and all of that stuff. And this guy was acting like he was losing his freaking mind, that I would actually talk to him. And I was thinking to myself, in spite of all of my judgments that I had about myself, so this is what keeps us from really indulging in and enjoying sometimes the wonderment of somebody else. Even the wonderment of a child is we start judging against it. And after a while, it's like I'm just sitting up there saying, well, what the heck, if instead of me getting all caught up in my, oh no, I can't. No, let me let me break it down for you. I just tell you, just enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself, right? Just enjoy yourself. And stop with all of the stuff that would have you keeping your, no, I can't. Oh, come on. It's amazing to me because sometimes what we see is we don't give ourselves that ability to take the plunge, to just kind of be like, okay. I'm gonna get with the program, and I'm going to be happy too. This is the day. You are the person the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And so no matter what you are thinking about yourself, any of that stuff, I'm going to be glad for you. I am so honored to know you and to be sharing the same planet with you at the same time. What an honor. Hey, good morning, Winifred. I can see. Good morning, Winnie. I saw that I had another comment came up, but I couldn't see what the comment was, so it took me a minute to get to that. So good morning to you. So yeah, we all have those things, and let's sit that on the shelf so that we can live our lives right here and right now, right? So yeah, and for those of us who have when I think about I'm gonna tell you old school. I'm gonna go old school on you. My grandmother's favorite psalm, like so many people, was the 23rd Psalm. And there's this verse in there that says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," right? And so sometimes we feel like we're in that valley. The whole bunch of times we feel like we are in that valley. And I tell you, it's almost like it's a segment or a portion of our life that's like that. I don't know if it's, from the teens up until about 35 or something like that, but it feels like we're in that valley. And then sometimes when we start to come up out of it, we can look back and think like, whew, I'm so glad I'm past that. But y'all, there are difficult moments. You're in the valley, you're looking up and you're seeing everybody else and everything else up there. And you sitting up there thinking to yourself like, damn, right? My rod and my staff, they comforted me, right? I don't know. We get caught up in the stuff. And then all of a sudden there seems to be like we start coming up out of it. And when we come back out of it, when we're out of it, let us be the people who turn back and say to somebody else, this too shall pass. That doesn't last always. That at a certain point, you're going to come up out of that funk, that fog, that stuff that you've been in. So just keep moving. Right? Just keep moving. Don't stop. Keep on moving. Don't stop. Yeah. Oh, y'all, just keep moving. Don't get caught up. And as you keep on moving, eventually you come up out of that and you get to be in the sunshine. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, there's some great philosophers out here that have made some amazing music that we could just we can just walk in the sunshine based on what we've been given, what we've been told. But we don't know it until we do. This morning, do I see? Yeah, okay, wait a minute, hold up. Oh, life is good. But I will tell you, I went through a whole lot this weekend to get my internet stuff up. And I am, for some reason, seeing a spinning circle on one of my screens, which should not be. So I don't know what that is about, but I'm going to keep moving and trust that all is well. All is well. But yeah, look back and tell somebody that it's going to be all right. Just whenever you get a chance. This too shall pass. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Just reassurance. Sometimes we just need that, to hear that. All right. So today I'm going to read the daily guide for today. I'm so excited about this. I'm sorry. There's a woman who, and one of my neighbors, I guess Uber driving is her thing. And so I love it how she does. She gets up and she gets dressed in the morning. I don't even know her, right? Because she stays a little ways from me. But I see her every morning. She gets dressed and she has this little Uber thing on her car. She gets dressed and she goes and she sits in her car. She maybe gets in there about 7:30, sometimes a little earlier than that. And she starts her car and she sits there. And I guess when she finally takes a call, then she leaves. But she just kind of sits and waits in her car for sometimes up to an hour, maybe more. But it's just always interesting to me to see how she works. And so it's all good. So, all right, I am going to do the daily guide, and because I already, there is already this wonderful. Oh, wait a minute. Before I go into the daily guide, when I'm saying that there are some amazing philosophers out there that have made some amazing music, this weekend y'all know I had some good friends that have had birthdays this weekend, and blessings on them. I got invited to parties and everything. But I think I was telling you guys about on Saturday how now I have this tendency to get really sleepy at, because I get up so early. And so I get really sleepy at a certain time of night. And so when there's these nighttime parties, there's a desire to go, but I am not driving myself because I have fallen asleep behind the wheel before. I can say that, and I don't want to be caught in that situation again. And so, I hope everybody had an amazing time at the parties. And when y'all start doing like I do, I've been doing happy hour parties for years because I don't like having people out at, look, I sound like a little old person now, but I'm not. Trust me, my everything moves and it's all lubricated and all that stuff. But yeah, it's like when you start having me out 9, 10 o'clock at night, I'm like, somebody else better be driving. But look, Uber. Anyway. Here we go. Hold yourself in high regard. That's what today's thing is. And her first quote comes from Lau Russell. And it's and the writing is, it says this, Lau Russell, and it says the writing is, God will work with you, but not for you. God will work with you, but not for you. It's on page 91. And I don't know if that's a book or whatever, but it says here, God will work with you, but not for you, by Lau Russell. And the quote she uses from that is that the consummate state of spiritual exaltation in us is that state of ecstasy where the two interchanging expressions of love are no longer divided. Okay. The two interchanging expressions of love are no longer divided. All right. And then from Ernest Holmes' 365 Science of Mind, the quote she uses is, the everlasting arms suggest divine protection, complete certainty, and the assurance that all is well with the soul. That reminds me of the new Martin Luther King display that they have in Boston that is receiving so many mixed reviews, from the people who absolutely love it to the people who absolutely hate it, because it is just the embrace of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King, their arms and nothing else. And so people are so the ever-loving arms suggest divine protection. Sometimes it's nice to just feel that divine protection, right? All right, so here's what Marilyn Louise Leo wrote for today. What does the phrase, the everlasting arms of God, mean to you? For me, this is her talking, for me, the term is used metaphorically. For God has no physical arms and is not made in our own image. God is spirit, and in spirit we are held in its arms. Is this hard to imagine, she asked? Invisible arms holding you, comforting, and perhaps a voice saying everything is going to be okay? But that is what I'm asking you to do, to wrap your arms around yourself and think on a blessing for yourself. Dr. Bill Hornaday of Founders Church in Los Angeles used to tell us to do this and to say out loud, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful you, right? For this exercise, with your arms wrapped around yourself, I would like you to say the following affirmation from Ernest Holmes. I am indeed secure today in the everlasting arms of good, of peace, of joy, and of life. I am secure in the consciousness that today and every day I shall be guided and guarded and protected. And I am secure in the consciousness that all people are protected by the same divine presence, governed by the same law of good, and guided by the same infinite love. Remain for a time in this awareness. Relax and allow these words and their meaning to become a part of you. This will deepen your understanding of truth of who you really are. Ah, there it is. And so the affirmation that she shares with this is, as I wrap my arms in love and high regard, and I include all people and activities I meet this day. There we go. And so that was from Marilyn Louise Leo for today's meditation. So amazing and good, right? I was talking about the 23rd Psalm, and here she comes with wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And that you are. Oh my gosh. I am so grateful for this abundant and wonderful life. That is my life. That is your life. That is God's life right here and right now. And so with that, today, I made a decision about I got a lot of things that are going on, thankfully. And I wanted to, you know how I am. I wanted to kind of put myself back into a process of, doing a book with you guys, not necessarily reading word for word, because that's not the way I do it, but having something that kind of guides the conversation that I'm having. And so today I made the conscious decision that I am going to embark upon another book. And, there's this thing of, vacillating. What? There's a part that believes that one book has so much to offer, and as I breathe into that book and think about that book, oh, I could do that book, right? And then it's another book, and oh, what am I going to get the best out of? And so I, like any other normal person, was like trying to figure out, what? Well, this morning in the shower, my girl Brene Brown popped into my head, and I started thinking about her book called Atlas of the Heart. And I started this book, I'll say, sometime last year. And when I started the book, it was like, oh, it was so good. It was so good. And I ended up purchasing that might be a problem, right? I think I ended up purchasing the audio book. I'm not sure which one it is, but it is in my Kindle. And I need to check and see which one it is, because if I'm wanting to do that, I need to have, that doesn't look like I got enough battery stuff on here to do what I need to do. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and see if it is a actual Kindle book or an Audible book. And if it is, just depending upon what it is, I might need to purchase it and then go from there. And then just basically do Atlas of the Heart, because that is it gives me so much to sink my teeth into, to to look at and to talk about over a period of time. And I know, as the parts I've already done, I've gotten a lot out of. I'm sure that you will get a lot out of it too. And so we will endeavor to go down that particular path together. Okay, so I am looking to see if I have it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, y'all. I do not. Which means that I will need to purchase this book. Oh, shadiggity. Shadiggity. All right. Okay, so then I'll make that happen. And then what we will do is we will embark upon that. Yesterday I had a yesterday I had a occasion where I talked about this thing. So when I alluded to this idea of there being wonderful philosophers out here, for me, I was re-listening to. I kind of skipped over this and didn't come back to it. I was listening to having a party here all by myself. Yeah. And it was a Parliament Funkadelics concert. And sometimes things don't resonate with you until you are in the space of resonance with them. So we'll hear things without hearing it, or say things without recognizing what it is. And so now, as I move into a different space in my awareness, that doggone Parliament Funkadelic was funky back before I knew what funk truly was. And as we come forward into this space, into this moment, I'm just knowing that it will continue to inform me, not just the groove. Because one of the things I talk about often is that when I am listening, when I am in the midst of listening to music and the book and all that stuff, I mean the song is playing, the lyrics and all that, I'm not always paying attention. It's not always like I'm saying the words. If you hear any noise, it's just me and the boys getting it, right? I get the words. But it takes on a different meaning when, depending upon where you are in your life, right? Once upon a time, in a place called now, right? When you start living in the presence, that resonates with you on a different level. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. And so for each and every one of us, we've got to recognize the space that we're in. Now, I'm not trying to tell you all the time to deny the spot, to deny what you're in, what you're going through, all of those things. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. But what I am saying is that what is the reality of something is. But most of the time, it's not the reality that we're tripping on. It is our judgment about the reality. And so at any given moment, you can change around how you feel about a particular thing simply by knowing that you have the power, the declarative power to make a choice. When I first read in the Dalai Lama's book that happiness is a choice that we can make, right? it was like, oh, you mean to tell me I can choose how I look at this? I can choose. Here, let me talk about this, the power of making a choice, because most of the time we think that things are cut in stone, that the way that you respond to, say for instance, a spouse cheating on you is that you divorce, or that you get upset, worked up, whatever it is, because that's what has been done, and we think that that is like put a period in it and whatever. It's I'm There's a lot that is not talked about. Let me kind of, I'm gonna stick a pin in that, and I'm gonna circle back on it in a second. I watched Kindred, and I had actually read the book, and it's really an interesting story, although they have kind of taken a lot of creative licenses with and around how they are portraying slavery. The whether or not, and I do know that all places were not the same when it dealt with enslaved people. There are a lot of places that were a lot more heinous and cruel than some of the other places. If you were like a little further north, while you still may have owned people and their bodies, there was a desire to reflect what you want to portray as your goodness by how your slaves are cared for. So whether or not you're feeding them enough food, and whether or not they have decent clothes, or whether or not they get to have Sundays off or something like that. When you live proximate to other people, they might judge your goodness or harshness based on how you treat people. But when you're out in the rural areas and you have nobody that is monitoring or looking or whatever, you can be as cruel as you might want to be. So I do understand that in different places, people had very different experiences. And so, good morning, Denise. So one of the things that I recognized is that that just like there are different levels of treatment and different ways of being, those things just depended on proximity and things like that. But this show, Kindred, kind of has taken it and tried to humanize a lot of the treatment that you may see in the show. But that's not necessarily what I want to talk about. I'm talking about this power to define things and change your mind about things, because your response does not have to be the same response that everybody else had. People, when Hillary Clinton did not divorce Bill Clinton behind his Monica Lewinsky thing, people were like thinking, oh, how is it that she, in the public eye, can deal with and accept her husband in his, infidelity or whatever like that, and just move on without allowing this. And a lot of people had their judgments about it, because they were always of the mindset that A, therefore B. Like, he cheated, or him and I are married, he cheated, that should be the end of it. But then she was like, wait a minute, hold up. That's not the end of it, because I get to write my own script. I get to determine how I'm going to be, the choices that I'm going to make, just like each and every one of us get to choose. Rarely do we see somebody that will be, that will say, whoo, thank God somebody giving it to them, right? Or rarely do we see people who will not respond from their ego level saying it's all about how it's perceived. Because Cause here's the thing. There's a lot of times things happen, and until you, sometimes you let things happen because you don't want to have to deal with the consequences of acknowledging it, if that makes any sense. Like, if, say, for instance, I acknowledge something, then that means that once I acknowledge it, it has to be a therefore after it. And so as long as you can pretend not to see it or not to know it, you can of your own self be in your own little space or in your own feelings or whatever about it, but without ever doing anything about it. So when I'm saying that you can be the author and finisher of your own stuff, you get to make choices about how you're going to respond and what you're going to respond to. Now, for me, I know how I am. If I am, y'all talk, I talk about the power of confession. When I'm holding things back, when I'm not acknowledging things, when I'm suppressing things like that, that weighs heavier on me than pulling the bandage off by responding to whatever it is that I'm dealing with at the time. But everybody is not like that. And what I know is if I don't let it out, it eats me from the inside out, right? So I got to get stuff off of my plate. Well, so for the longest, up under and I'm circling back to the enslavement piece. For the longest, people were under the impression that, I don't even know if they were under this impression, but men had sex with enslaved women as if it was a service that they were doing or rendering to not only their to the ones they enslaved, but to society in general. They felt like they were doing a service, and in doing and rendering that service, they didn't see it as they were being unfaithful or cheating. Sure, some of them didn't want their wives to know, but many of them act like, just like, I talk about my grandfather in this way. I talk about my grandfather in that I always talk about him being a farmer and that he planted seeds in everybody's garden, right? He just went around planting seeds in other folks' gardens. That was the analogy that I use, because I don't want to make it sound like there was some maliciousness to it. Now, sure enough, my grandfather was probably well received when he went to do his planting. Not all people are well received. I can see that that a lot of times this was rape. This was people feeling as if you had no right to say no. Anyway, the ways in which things have been dealt with over the years is we're now at a place of making new decisions and thinking about it in new ways. No longer are we looking at this through the eyes of somebody else to define our reality, but rather we begin to look through our own eyes and with our own, with our own ability to give definition and to breathe life into things. So we've got to take it out of the paradigm of allowing other people to decide how we should respond or what we should feel about a thing, and then take ownership over that and say what it is that we think and feel about it. Yesterday during my Sunday talk, I talked about that the story of Shadrach, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And people are always like, talking about their faith. But rarely do they talk about that these men were imprisoned and their names changed. And while we're sitting there and we're talking about them as if we're honoring their sacrifice, we should at least do so in their actual name instead of the one that they were given. It's like when in the last scenes of Roots, when Kunta Kinte died, somebody went and scratched off Toby off of his thing and wrote on there Kunta Kinte, because Kunta Kinte was his given name. It was a name that would honor him, and not necessarily by calling him by the name of those that have enslaved him. And so for each and every one of us, we get to make decisions about who we are, because in that book, it says that we were given the responsibility to name a thing, to call it what it is. And so when we begin to take back our power and begin to speak over the things, to call them by the name that whether it is ourselves or our environment, whatever it is, when we start to understand that we have that naming power, that calling forth power, we start to engage in a different way. So you get to make choices about who you are. You do not have to fit into the cookie cutter mold that has been put before you. Y'all, we know about cookie cutters, right? And so many of us have tried to fit into that cookie cutter mold, and it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work for me, and it probably does not work for you. So finding your truth is what you've got to do. Right? So when you are looking for this, I'm always talking about follow your bliss, figure out what makes you happy, do what it is that, that it speaks and enlivens you. And if you don't know what that is, begin your search for it today. Right? I don't know about I don't know about how other people go about this. And I tell you, sometimes for me, the oddest things stir up this stuff. The oddest things for me stir up this stuff. So last week when I talked about I was doing, algebra with my niece, who knew I would get so much joy out of helping her with some homework? I had forgotten about how much I love that. And but you got to be that book. Oh, The Year of Yes. Oh, okay. So I'm doing Atlas of the Heart, right? But The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes is such a good book, because she just said, okay, everything that comes up, I'm going to just say yes. Wonder if I started saying yes. Right? Wonder if you start saying yes. Now, I know for many of you, when I just said that, the thought popped up in there, but I'm not saying yes to that, and I'm not saying yes to that, and I'm not saying yes to her, and I'm not saying yes to him. You already in your mind are thinking no. Oh my gosh. Wonder if you just said yes. And then released your judgments about it. I don't know, but what I do know is that ability to say yes might get you unstuck from something. It might open you up to a whole different way of being. I don't know what that may mean, but I know that for many of us, we've been shackled to ideas of ourselves, ideas about what's good and what's bad. We've been shackled for so long. Oh my gosh. And in those places where we're shackled, there is a part of us that, couldn't even find ourselves if somebody gave us a pin and tail on a donkey thing. Couldn't find it. And so now what? Right? Now what? What do we do with this? So in this, it is looking at yourself in a totally different way than what you may have before. It's allowing yourself to just be curious about what it is that you want and what makes you happy. Would it You know, I mean, here's the thing. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been cheated on before, right? I could look at, at the situation and say, am I upset about this? And if I'm upset, why am I upset? What's upsetting to me about this, right? We get to ask ourselves questions like that. What exactly is upsetting? Is it that I feel that I've been betrayed, that I feel that I'm not at the top of the, you know, most desired? Is it that I feel, what is it that I feel about this? Now, if I go back to, remember I started out talking about how it is when you just let people enjoy what they enjoy without making judgments about it, right? So if I am not making judgments about it and I'm just letting somebody enjoy what they enjoy, because I'm just like, ooh, when the guy was all so excited about me, I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing that, right? Wonder if we just decided to do it, right? Wonder if we decided, somebody say, you know, what's the worst? What's the worst? Oh, we walk around and we're so shy and we're so bashful and we're so, I couldn't possibly. I remember when I had gone to a family gathering one time, and my hair it seemed like my hair was longer and silkier than it is now. And I remember my aunts or my cousin, they wanted me to fling my hair. Can you just fling your hair? And I was like, I'm not doing that. And they just kept going on like, yeah, just throw it. Like, just, no. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Now, here I am 20 years later, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, okay, it was not something that I normally do. It was not something that I think is, anything about it. But what the heck if that was going to give them some pleasure? What the heck? Why was I so insistent upon saying no to them? Well, they're gone now, it's okay. I mean, it's all good, but at the same time, what's the harm in just saying yes? What's the harm in saying yes? If it's not taking anything away from you, if it's not taking anything away from me, what's the harm in saying yes? And so often we are programmed to say no. Oh my goodness, there is a line in, let me see if I can turn around and find this book. Yeah, I got it. There is this, I want to, and then I think I'm going to get off of here. But, I want to see if I can find this as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, because I thought it was so, it's so wonderful. Oh wow, that's something else that I marked. And I see that I've got this big thing marked around this page here. And I don't know. Y'all, I'm gonna tell you, I am a lover of Marianne Williamson, right? She ran for president. She is the bomb diggity, and I just love her writings. And so, sometimes I just feel compelled to share a story that she might have shared, at some point. And so let me share with you this one, and it is out of her book Enchanted Love, and this is the beginning of chapter 11, and it's called Body and Souls. And she says, over 20 years ago, I was living with my boyfriend in a fourth floor walk-up apartment in New York City. One flight above us lived a very unassuming couple. We crossed paths many times on the stairs, but they both appeared very quiet and rarely even said hello. He was a college instructor, rather fey-looking, pale and small-boned. She, also quite small, appeared as if she could fade into the woodwork. They were not, in terms of most of us, they were not, in terms most of us would relate to, a very exciting looking couple. And yet the noise that came through our ceiling day in and day out, from early in the morning until late hours of night, was unbelievable. My boyfriend and I were young and in love, but our most athletic days and nights were nothing compared to our upstairs neighbor. We would stare at each other in disbelief. They're doing it again? In addition to the normal sounds of a rocking bed and excited lovers, there was one human cry coming from their apartment over and over again. While we never heard a sound from him, his girlfriend ecstatically cried, "No!" so many times, in so many ways, with such passionate expression, that all we could do was laugh, trying to drown out their sounds by putting pillows over our ears. It amazed me that no other word but no seemed to ever pass her lips. One night, having just heard another of her symphony of no, I asked myself out loud, I wonder why she never says yes. I wonder why she never says yes. I tell you, that was such a good, when I read that the first time, it was so good for me, because that was a question that I think all of us need to ask ourselves from time to time. Why do we not say yes? Why do we say no so quickly? We give in to fears. We release ourselves. We have all of these fears, and we think sometimes that we're protecting ourselves by saying no. But wonder if we just try saying yes. Yes to the adventure. Yes to the question. Yes to the possibility. Just saying yes. Yes to an experience. Yes to something. Why not say yes instead of no? I don't know. But, for me, that's what I want to do. I want to be found in yes. Maybe not driving, at night or late at night when I might fall asleep. But otherwise, let me say yes. Yes, yes. All right. So you guys, it's a Monday. Yes? And it's going to be a fabulous Monday. Yes? Why not make it a beautiful day? So with that, I am going to bounce off of here, and I need to get that book so we can begin this new journey down a new path with Atlas of the Heart. All right, y'all, be blessed. I trust that you will have an amazing Monday, and I will see you here tomorrow, God willing. And yeah, just try saying yes. Try not being resistant. Resist not evil. Why not redefine it? Because it's not really evil. It is just what it is. Whatever. Yes. Just say yes. All right. Blessings to you. I will be here tomorrow at my, let's say, at my normal roundabout time. And I hope you have an amazing, blessed day.